Welcome to the channel Get Rich. Today the video is about how to analyze a stock. So analyzing a stock consists of different sub analysis or different sub categories. So one of them is industry analysis. So how do we analyze the industry the stock belongs to, and then how do we look into the economic conditions around those industry? How is this industry going to perform for the next 5, 10, or 15 years? It's still relevant. And then we have to do a company analysis itself, so what the company do and how they do and what are the management is doing and other things. So we have to do company analysis, and then we have to project future profit outlook. So we have to project how the company is going to put their revenues and net profit in the coming years. So that is very important. So the future projection. So these are the main constitutions of fundamental analysis. So let's first have a look how can we do industry analysis. So the first one is the industry growth itself. How is the industry growth in the next 5 to 10 years? So if the industry grows and if the stock belongs to the industries grows much higher than the industry, that's much better. So we have to know how the industry growth is going to be in the coming next 5 to 10 years. So how do we know this industry growth? So these estimates will usually be provided by the companies itself. So you can refer to the management discussion and analysis section in the annual report. So in those report you can find the estimate provided by the companies, and also there will be many independent reports estimate the industry sector growth or industry growth itself. And you can also find many online resources to estimate how the industry growth CAGR is going to be for the next 5 to 10 years. This is very important in the industry analysis. Once you know the industry growth, then you have to think about the industry relevancy after 5 to 10 years. Is this industry still be relevant after 5 to 10 years? Will there be any disruption in this industry? For example, if you look into AMC companies, so I like AMC companies. So AMC companies is nothing but asset management companies, or you can look into insurance companies. So these companies are underpenetrated in India at the moment. So they have huge potential, and this industry is going to grow at a pretty huge CAGR in the coming years. At the same time, if you have a look at the example of disrupted industry, for example, the example of disruption industry would be the fossil fuel based energy companies which are not shifting to renewable energy, because in the future more and more fuels or more and more energy is going to shift into renewable energies, and the companies which are operating in fossil fuel based energy companies and they are not thinking about changing to renewable energy will probably be disrupted in the next 10-15 years. So that's something we have to think about. Another example would be automotive companies or auto ancillaries whose businesses will be affected by the advent of electric cars. So for sure in the next 10 to 15 years, more and more electric cars is going to be on the roads in the next 5 to 10 years or 10 to 15 years. So what is going to happen to these automobile companies or auto ancillaries whose businesses will be affected by these electric cars? If they did not change their business by adapting to the electric cars, then this industry is going to be disrupted. So we have to think about, is the industry still be relevant for the next 10 to 15 years? We have to think about the future. We have to have a futuristic view about this industry. And then the third one, what we have to ask ourselves is, who are the market leaders of the sector? So who are the top leaders belongs to the sector? We have to do research about who are the market leaders of the industry, and we also have to know about what are their profit margin, what are their potential profit margin. It is always best to bet on the market leaders because it will have a better risk to reward ratio, because the market leader always grows much better, and also the industry or the investors are going to value the market leaders at a higher level. So the risk to reward ratio is much better in the market leaders. So we always have to look into the market leaders. And then how is the industry valued? So we have to know the industry valuation. So how is this industry valued? For example, AMC companies are always valued at much higher PE ratio because they don't have much capital needed to scale up the business, and they have a lot of free cash flows. So the AMC companies are always valued at the much higher P ratio, and also the consumer FMCG business, its P also valued at a much higher level. So we have to know the industry valuation or the industry P ratio, price to earning ratio. These are the main important things to look into in the industry and sector analysis. Let's just have an example of AMC industry or asset management industry. So if you have to analyze the asset management industry, so I will look into, okay, we are in India, so how the asset under management as a percentage of GDP in India currently. We can look into the developed countries. So we are developing country, we can look at developed countries, how some industries are progress in those countries, and it is most likely followed by the developing countries. So we can compare with different developed countries or the average of the world. So if you look at India, the mutual fund AUM as a percentage of GDP is much lesser. It's only 15 compared to South Africa, UK, Brazil, world average, Canada, France, US. So they are much higher level. So now we can see it is under penetrated. This industry is under penetrated in India, and it is going to grow at a much faster pace. So we can compare with the developed countries or the related markets, how it is performed in those countries, because they are ahead of us and we are going to follow them most likely. So that's something you can do in an industry analysis, comparing the related markets. And then the market leaders, so how we can do this. So for example, this is a mutual fund industry, so the main thing is asset under management. I just found a open source which have the asset under management disclosed for the top 10 AMCs. So what I did, I just plotted in a pie chart with the asset under management of each of these companies. Now we can know the market share of each companies based on asset under management. So if you look at the market leader is SBI mutual fund, which has 15.4%, and then HDFC mutual fund has 13.1%, and then ICICI, and then Birla Sun Life, and we have Kotak Mahindra mutual fund, and then Nippon India, Axis, UTI, IDFC, DSP, and others belongs to just 16.8%. Now we know the market leaders. So based on that, we can see I usually bet on the top 10 market leaders. I usually don't go out of the top 10 market leaders in a particular industry. So if I have to go beyond the top 10 market leaders, they have to be truly aspiring to come into the top 10 category. So this is very, very important. So it is also very important to see who are the market leaders and what are their profit margins and how they are progressing in the market leader list. The company's position in the industry. So how is this stock positioned in the industry? What is the market share of the company itself? We are analyzing. So now we are in the company analysis. So we just completed the industry analysis. So now we are entering into the company analysis. How can we analyze the company? First, we have to know what is the market share of the company, how much market share this company take out, and we have to think, okay, whether this company is in the top 10 market share list presence. So if it is there, that's very good. If it is not there, if it is aspiring to be the top 5 or top 10 in the coming years, is the management talking about the aspiration? So what are the aspiration of the management? That's also very, very, very important. And the another thing is the profit margin comparable with the industry. What are their profit margin? So if we can take the industry average of the profit margin, and we can check, okay, what is this company's profit margin compared with the industry. And also we can compare a lot of different financial ratios, P ratio, price to book, price to sales, and then return on equity, return on capital employed. You have a lot of financial ratios we can compare with the industry. So I will get into the financial ratio in a minute, but these are the comparison we can do with the industry while doing company analysis. And the most important in the company's analysis is the management. The management of the company is very, very, very important. They're the drivers of the ship. So it's very important to analyze the management itself. How can we analyze the management of the company? The first thing we need to know is, are they genuine and transparent? So that's very, very important. So if they are genuine and transparent, usually they don't fall apart abruptly. So if they are properly giving the genuine reasons and transparency, because something went wrong. So they have to be a genuine management. That's what I look. So first thing what I do is, so we can have a investor call transcript in every quarter. So I read the investor call transcript thoroughly and the questions of the different analyzed and how the management responds to this question. Are they really genuine, or it's difficult to judge, but we can read the answers of the questions and how the answers are, how they respond to these questions. That's very important. So I will usually I read this investor call transcript thoroughly. And the another thing we can do is we can check the management salary corresponding with the net profit of the company. So according to me, 5 to 10% of the net profit as salary is fine. Anything more than that is not good. Even some CEOs or some management just take 1 rupees a salary. They are very good. They are much more interested in the company than taking out of the money from the company. So that's one thing I can look into the management. And there are other things also we can look into the management. So we can look into the track record of the company, or track record of the management or the related companies. For example, if I have to analyze HDFC AMC, so HDFC AMC belongs to HDFC Group. So HDFC Group companies have very good reputation, and most probably they will have a very good management because they have HDFC, HDFC Bank, HDFC Life, and they are very good. So most likely HDFC AMC management will also be good. They're high quality franchise. So I will also look into is the franchise or they have any high quality franchise. I will also do this all different kinds of things to analyze the genuineness of the management. That's very important. Management quality is very important in any company. So this is the first and foremost thing to look into in analyzing any of the company. So then we need to know about the company. Knowing about the company, what they do and how they do, is also very important. So one thing we can do is we can read the investor presentation and the annual report. Mainly in the annual report, you can read the message of the chairman and CEO, and you can see how their tone is and how they wanted to drive their company. So are they ambitious? Are they going to disturb something, or are they want to grow much bigger? What are their ambition and how they want to implement that? So that's also very important to look into a company. So usually the investor presentation and annual report is very important, and also the financial highlights of the company in the annual report. So you can read different sorts of things in this annual report and every quarter investor presentation. And now we come to understanding the financials of the companies. So we have different things. So we have company operations to understand how the company operate, and how what are their profit margins, what are their EBITDA margin, what is their net profit margin. Everything we have to look into. If the margins goes up, goes down, what is their typical margin. So these are the things we need to be very sure of. So what are their raw materials of the company, so what are their employee salary, so if it is an IT company, and what are their utilization rate. So these are all things about the company operations is very important to know. If you know all the company operations very well, if you understand all the company operations very well, for example in a quarter or in a year, if their margin drops temporarily, for example, and the net profit drops and the share price will come down, so you can utilize these opportunities to buy more. So I will come to that in a minute. So then the company operations, understanding the company operations is very important. So you need to read a lot how the company operates. So what are their product, how are they doing their product, how are they manufacturing their product, and what are their raw materials, and how are they selling it, who are their distributors are, and how their revenues are coming in. So these are all important, how they acquire customers. So these are all different sorts of things we need to understand about the company operations. So once you know the company operations, we also need to know the business environment. So who are their competitors are. So is there a lot of competition in this space? So how is this company can survive, or is this company have a moat around it? So these are the things we need to analyze in the business environment of the company. And the main first and foremost thing is revenue growth potential. So the number one important parameter which the stock price track in the long term is the net profit. So the net profit and the net profit growth is the single most important parameter. So the most important things for us is revenue growth rate, net profit growth rate. what are their revenues, what are their net profit, what are their revenue growth, what is their net profit growth. So in short, this is the four most important thing. So most people see it as a bottom line. So usually the revenues we say it as a top line, and the net profit we call it as bottom line. So the bottom line is more important for the company. The bottom line growth and the top line growth, and the bottom line and the top line is very important for the company. And then comes the financial health. So what are their financial health? How is their financial health? So in the balance sheet, if you look at the balance sheet, what are their assets and liabilities, and they have some debts, what are their debt levels are, can they be able to repay their loan in the short term, can they be able to repay their loan in the long term. So we look at the current ratio. So what are their current liability and the current asset, is it more than one? So these are the things we need to look into in the financial health section. So how we can analyze the balance sheet is also very important. We have to analyze the balance sheet in a much more detailed way, so that we know, okay, this company is financially healthy, they are growing their revenues and they are growing their net profits very well. Okay, so these are all good. And then we see other parameters and the moat around the company and the management and everything. If everything comes together, we then go to the valuation section, and if the valuation is compelling and you have a better risk to reward ratio, then you go and buy a stock. So that's all in the fundamental analysis section. So okay, we now understood how we can do the company analysis. And also there are some times, for example, we can look carefully at one-time expenses or one-time income. Sometimes the company have one-time expenses or one-time income. So some people mostly sees only the bottom line. And sometimes if these companies, just for example, uh, I was also investing in US companies, for example the Dropbox, the company. So they had like one-time expense now, and their EPS dropped pretty less, and then the stock dumped. But then they have a very good moat, they have a very good financial parameters, but only because of their one-time expenses in the current quarter, the stock dumped. So I just went and bought more, because I know this company is going to do well in the next coming years. So you can utilize these opportunities of like one-time expenses, one-time income, and short-term dip in the margin. You can, if you know the company very well, then you can easily utilize the price drop because of some short-term temporary things. So if it is temporary, that's good, you can accumulate more of the stock at a cheaper price. So it is very important to understand the companies in and out, so that you can do actions knowing, okay, the stock price drops because of this, okay, I know this is temporary and it's going to improve, so I go and buy the stock. Let's have a look at the important financial ratios. What are the important financial ratios we look at? The valuation is very important, right? The valuation of the company. So the first thing I look at is PE ratio. So the price, that's a simple ratio, right? So the price to earning ratio. So I usually like companies with PE value less than 15 to 20. Quality companies with PE value less than 15 to 20 is a seal. It's a very good thing. But if the market is priced certain companies lower, there must be a reason. So we try to find that reason. If that reason is temporary, you can utilize and seize the opportunity and buy more. For example, there can be, as I said, there can be temporary margin squeeze. So compare with the industry PE, and if you find some temporary problem goes on to the company, for example the raw material price shot up in the short term, or for example the temporary margin squeeze, or one-time expenses, or the tax rate higher in a short term. So these kind of things you can see, and if you find that opportunity, you can go and buy. So there are a lot of companies trading at PE value 5 or 4 or 3 or 8. Not all of them is a good buy, right? Because they are selling at a P at 5 or 10 for a reason. So we have to find a reason. What is the reason behind that P value of 10 or 12 or 15? So you need to understand that, okay, this is why the stock is trading at a lesser valuation. So if these things are corrected, and it will be doing very good in the long term. So if you know the reason, if you understand very well about the company, and then you can go and buy. So look for companies, the quality companies, and know the reason why it is on a short-term dip. For example, I am also holding this stock. For example, Araminda Pharma. So Araminda Pharma is a very good company. So there was a FDA inspection, US FDA inspection of their manufacturing plant, and then they gave some observation to that pharma company, and because of the manufacturing plant observation provided by the US FDA, the stock is falling pretty huge, right? This happened some time ago, not now. So okay, Aurobindo Pharma, so it's a very good quality company, and it's a short-term problem. They just give observation. They are going to replay it, and they are going to rectify that, and the business is going to be fine, right? So if this is a temporary problem, and if the US observation, the company is going to rectify it. So if you are sure that, then you buy the price drop. So you have to take advantage of this short-term opportunity. So you have to find the reason why the stock is falling, or why the P ratio is trading at a lower value. So this is all about the P ratio. That's also very important. So I like companies with P or 15 to 20, and if it's a very good growth companies, I can go up to 30, 35, or even 40. But usually I don't go above 40 P, so I don't buy companies with more than P value of 40. So then the second important ratio is debt to equity. So what is debt to equity? So the companies have debt, right? And they also have equity. Equity is nothing but their asset minus liability. That's a stockholder value, or the equity. So the debt to equity ratio, so I avoid companies with more than 0.5 debt to equity. So my range is, I like companies which are debt free. I really like companies which are debt free, but I can go up to 0.5 debt to equity. So anything more than 0.5, I will be very cautious, because they have to do a lot of interest payments, and there is a certain risk. So there are many companies which are debt free, and there are many companies whose debt to equity value are less than 0.5. So I like companies whose debt to equity value are less than 0.5. That's also an important point. And then the return on equity and return on capital employed. So return on equity and return on capital employed ratios is also very important, because how they are utilizing their capital and how their return on equity is also very important. So I like companies with more than 15% ROE and ROCE. So if the companies have 20% ratios, 25% ratios, 30%, that's very good. So minimum I look into these ratios at minimum 15%. Usually these are the main ratios I look into, but there are also other ratios like price to book value, price to sales, etc. There are many other ratios I look into. So that's in a nutshell the important financial ratios I look at. And then the other things which I look at, so I look at the shareholding pattern, so and check who are the major investors. Does this company have any big investor backing or the mutual fund presence? So the shareholding pattern, so whether the promoters are buying, promoters are selling, and is there any big investors backing the company? And also, is there any mutual fund presence? Mutual funds are buying or selling. You, if you are watching my stock analysis video, I usually do this thing, right? So you look into the stock holding pattern, and then the big investors backing, and then mutual funds, what are they doing? So that's also something you have to track, because that gives confidence to your, it's not necessarily mutual funds have to be in that space, but if they are in that space, the company would be much more in a good position. That's also something I usually look at. And then last but not least, the very important is free cash flow. So I always look at free cash flows. So this is where we can see whether the net profit the company is reporting is coming into the company as cash or not, because they can just report net profit without even getting paid by the customer. So the free cash flow will give us whether they are doing a good job or not, because that's the cash really in the company after spending the capital expenditure and so on. So usually the operating cash flow is something I look at, because if they are spending, if it is a growth company and if they are spending more and more capital, then I usually look at the operating cash flow. But free cash flow is very important to me in my analysis. And finally, the valuation. So based on all this factor, I value the stock and I look at the price. If I feel the risk to reward ratio to invest in the stock is high, then I will in the stock. For example, if I am doing with the calculation and my value is coming at as 200 rupees, and if the stock is trading at around like 195 rupees, and yeah, if it is not going more than like, yeah, 50% or 100%, so I usually look into companies which have huge growth, but the reward is high and the risk is lower. So as I said, in order to reduce the risk, you can usually look into the market leaders, and you can also to look at the growth of the companies to increase the reward. So usually the valuation is a bit tricky, so you have to be do a due diligence before yeah, buying any stock. So you have to do a very good job in the analysis or the valuation part. So we have to have a favorable risk to reward ratio. So we calculate the price, and if the risk to reward ratio is good, for example, if the stock in the next 2 3 years has the potential to go up to, for example, 100%, and maximum if the stock drops only 20 30%, so you can feel okay, already the stock is at the rock bottom, maximum it can go down is 20 to 30%, but how reward is at 100%, so the risk to reward is much favorable to invest in this stock, right? So that's how, if I feel the risk to reward ratio in the stock is good, then I will go there and buy. That too, not all at once, so in a stepped staggered manner, into a different time steps. So yeah, that's how I analyze the stock, and then I do valuation, and then this is the process I follow. I do industry analysis, company analysis, and then checking all the different things about the company, what is going on, and all the different parameters, and I compare with the industry, and I calculate the values, and then look at the valuation, and if the risk to reward is favorable, then I go and buy this stock. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, like, share, and comment. And yeah, whatever I mentioned in the stock in this video, that are my personal opinion, that are not any recommendation. You have to do your due diligence before investing in any stock. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bye bye.